Sony had the chance to learn from everyone else before releasing their WF-1000XM6 earbuds. Are they better than the top-of-the-line noise-cancelling earbuds from Google, Bose, JBL, and Apple?
If you're new to the channel, I'm Rohan.
And I'm Kevin.
A pair of buds living in the Netherlands who love talking tech.
So, 3 ways are great, Rohan, but 5 ways are better.
That's what they say.
We're talking about the colors.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So Bose's QC Ultra Gen 2 comes in 5 of them. That is the most options that you can get from all of the buds here on the table. The Pixel Buds Pro 2 from Google is not too bad with 4 options to choose from. The JBL Tour Pro 3 and the Sony, just 2 colors, but it could be worse if we're talking about the AirPods Pro 3. Good old plain white.
Yeah, and the Pixel Buds, I think, are the most interesting and, kind of fun of these earbuds. Looks-wise, they're rounded, the shape, and they look like little discs in your ears. Not huge discs, mind you, so that's
Someone
cool.
said it looked like candy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And they asked you to eat it as well. But that's the whole thing. And the Sony, well, I think they're kind of the most unique shape, actually, at the end of the day. They're not like your flat stem. They're not your rounded stem like the AirPods, but they're kind of bean-shaped. We'll talk about controls in a bit, but the charging cases that you can see here are also vastly different, right? Because, I mean, if you're just thinking of size, then it's these two guys. It's the it's the AirPods and the Google. And then I would say it was probably the Sony and the Bose, which are kind of similar.
Yeah.
And then you have Mr. Big Boy here, the JBL. But, it has an excuse. It has an excuse why it's so big. Those charging cases even have speakers on them, built in for being able to find them or alert them, but not all of them.
Not all of them. The AirPods Pro 3 have that and the Pixel Buds Pro 2.
And you can use those speakers to find them or alert you if they're low on battery or whatever. And Google and Apple, along with having the smallest case footprint, have some of the best IP ratings too. The JBL is also surprisingly good.
Yeah, but just on the buds, not on the case.
Yeah.
And there's no IP rating on the case for the Sony and the Bose. But here on screen, you can see all the IP ratings. And the way you operate them are different. So except for the AirPods, all of these buds are controlled by touch controls. There are some slight variations because the Bose and Pixel Buds also support swipe gestures for volume control. The AirPods Pro 3 go with a squeeze and a stroke control. And the Bose and the Pixel Buds and AirPods have limited customization in the app. The JBL is a bit better, but not great because of predefined control schemes. The best here is definitely the Sony because it gives you full customization.
But if your gloves are wet and you're wearing hands, the AirPods win because in normal conditions, all are responsive and reliable controls. But in those conditions, if your gloves are wet or you're wearing hands, it's the AirPods.
Earbuds are useless if they don't feel comfortable in your ears and they don't fit. So all of these come with different ear tip materials and they're different sizes and different implementations. For example, the Sony has these hybrid foam ear tips, which are great to form a good seal. But in terms of comfort and how quickly you put them in your ears, it can be tricky because they're foam. You got to pinch them, put them in the ear, and then, wait for them to expand.
Yeah, I think AirPods have done it the best because they use silicone on the outside, the part that touches your ear, but they've infused foam into it.
Yeah.
So you don't feel it as much and they don't get as grimy, but you get all the benefits of foam. So that's really nice. The Bose have the most shallow insertion here, which means they're really, really comfortable. You just kind of place them at the entrance of your ear and they're there.
Yeah.
And they're supported by stability bands. Yeah. The JBL tries to give you all the options you want. So you get silicone tips or foam tips in the box.
Yeah. Although that foam tip, there's only one size of it included in the box. But I mean, we were talking about this. They've done silicone tips also very well. They sit really well in the ear and they're comfortable. Yeah. Now the Pixel Buds are rounded silicone tips, not oval shaped, but also very comfortable. So here, just to wrap up the comfort, we'd say the Bose and the Pixel Buds take the win.
Absolutely.
Right? Followed closely by JBL and the AirPods. So they're similar. And the Sony, unfortunately, is at the end just because of that foam tip pressing up against your ear canal a little bit. So it's more present, let's say. Not super uncomfortable by any means. But yeah, if we had to rank it, this is what it would be.
In terms of secure fit, I think we also have different opinions. Obviously, you have different ears, different preferences. I think I prefer the Pixel Buds. They're really good fit. They really stay in my ear.
Yeah.
And the Sony. Because the foam really holds on.
Yeah. So I agree with the Pixel Buds, but I would have to put the other buds as being the Bose for me. Just because of those stability bands, it really helps for me. But again, right? Our ears are different than your ears, so that may vary.
All right, here are short samples of how the microphones sound, guys. And we have a new winner. So listen carefully and see if you can spot the winner.
Yeah. This is how the background noise sounds with no headphones. AirPods Pro 3. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra Earbuds Gen 2. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. JBL Tour Pro 3. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Pixel Buds 2 Pro. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. The Sony WF-1000XM6. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. This is a windy mic test on the AirPods Pro 3. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. The Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra Earbuds 2. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. JBL Tour Popsicle. Google Pixel Buds Pro 2. Pop, pop, popsicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Sony WF-1000XM6. Pop, pop, popsicle. Ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Okay.
What are we saying?
So, the safest choices for phone calls across all conditions that we tested in really goes to the AirPods and the Sony. So they're both really good. The Bose and the Pixel Buds are not bad, but you do need to speak up if you don't want background noise and the wind to overpower your voice. The worst here is the JBL Tour Pro 3, just because they're not really usable in windy conditions.
Yeah. In terms of FUCK1 controls, the most extensive call controls you're getting are from the AirPods Pro 3. Everything you're getting from answer, hang up, change the ANC mode, mute your microphones, change your volume, even head gestures.
Yeah.
The second place goes to Sony because it does everything, but it does not have volume controls when you're on a phone call.
Yeah.
Although Bose may have fewer controls, they have some of the most important ones. Answer, hang up, change ANC mode, volume, and mute.
Yeah.
So you'll be fine with either the AirPods, the Sony, or the Bose.
Yeah. The others on this list are quite bare bones, unfortunately. So the JBL give you a ton of features like tweaking your voice or tweaking the voice of the other person at the other end. And for the full controls, you can see them on screen here. Okay, ANC and transparency, because that's going to be a very big reason why people are going to buy these buds. Now, all 5 of these buds are the creme de la creme, so you can obviously expect top tier performance here, guys. All are tier S, except for the Pixel Buds, which are tier A, just a tier lower.
For noise cancelling.
For noise cancelling. Tier S means that the low end feels like it's almost gone and you hear a tiny bit of the voices come through. Now, the Pixel Buds, even though they're tier A, are no slouch. You do hear a little bit more of those frequencies that we talked about. Now, for transparency,
being able to hear your environment as naturally as possible without having to take the buds out. Again, they're almost all tier S and give you the experience of not wearing any earbuds at all. But this time, it's the JBL. That's 1 tier lower at tier A. Although voices come in naturally, the low end is somewhat slightly suppressed and there's a little bit of occlusion and white noise.
Yeah, and there wouldn't be product differentiation if all of these brands didn't come up with their own fancy features. So all of them have something different for noise cancelling and transparency. For example, the Sony now has an auto ambient mode to automatically ramp up or down the transparency based on your environment. And you can also manually choose from a 20-point transparency slider. There's a voice pass through if you want to isolate those voices. There's ambient sound control, scenes, speak to chat. Yeah, a ton of stuff on the Sony.
Yeah. The Bose gives you modes, which I quite like. Very simple implementation and concept. You can customize each of those modes on a 10-band scale from ANC to transparency. And they have something called active sense for louder sounds to prevent them from jarring you.
Yeah. And the JBL has a slider for ANC and transparency. They also have this adaptive ANC based on your environment and also leakage compensation. So suppose that the earbud is not fully sealing off your ear, it can somehow, compensate for that a little bit.
Yeah. The AirPods, again, a ton of features, conversation awareness, which actually the JBL and the Sony also have.
Yeah.
And adaptive ANC. And the Pixel Buds also adaptive ANC and that same conversation detection feature.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. In terms of codecs, the AirPods is one here that's not going to get a fancy high-res codec, but I'm sure they're doing something with Apple devices where they get preferential treatment. So there's no way to prove it. So don't sue me, Apple. But we can clearly see there's something going on. The rest of them have different kind of high-res codecs except the Google Pixel Buds Pro 2. Having said that, all of these are great buds with great tech for sound, and we're not going to go over all the features they have here. We've done individual reviews on all these products, so check those out. But if you're someone who likes tweaking your sound, the AirPods Pro 2, 3 are immediately out. It sounds fine, but there's no customization whatsoever from Apple.
Remember when Pro used to mean something in the Apple lineup? Well, of all of these buds that sound fairly decent for most use cases, the Pixel Buds Pro 2 would be at the bottom of the list, followed by the AirPods Pro 3. Yeah. We'd say then it's the Bose.
Yeah.
And in second place, the Sony with JBL being our favorite for sound.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you? Also, this line is not very straight. The JBL Tour Pro 3 on LDAC just hits the spot for me. It's the Sony gives you more of a restrained sound out of the box, which is surprising, but I enjoy that. The key here is that both of these buds give you the most amount of sound customization, right? So you're going to get EQ, you're going to get, all this tuning and all that. And both support LDAC, which is more ubiquitous on Android phones. However, for your specific use case, the Bose, the AirPods Pro may be more appropriate depending on devices you're running. So let us know which one you prefer. And remember, we are not audiophiles. shop.dhrme.nl. All right, of all the buds here in terms of battery life, first off, you're getting wireless charging on all of them.
Yeah.
So that's good. Premium, I guess that's a premium feature. Bose has the worst battery life, right? It has 6 hours advertised. Maybe in real life you get a bit more, but still not great.
Compared to 8 hours on all of these.
Yeah, and if you do head tracking on this guy, you're losing like 40% or something. It's like you get 4 hours of...
And that's because it's happening on device.
On device.
Right?
So that's a trick they're employing, which actually makes the head tracking work quite well, spatial audio. But, the worst battery life if that's what you're after.
Yeah.
For the rest, I think all of them are kind of on the same, right? This is 8 hours, I know. The Sony is 8 hours. This is 8 hours. And the Google Pixel as well, 8 hours.
If you need a lot of battery in the charging case, though, definitely go for the JBL, because again, that's one of the excuses that they have being a chunky case, is that they pack about 33 hours in the charging case, right? So that's really good. Even though the Pixel Buds Pro 2 is small, they still have 22 hours in the case, so it's not bad. Yeah. But the least amount in the battery charging case, let's say, is going to be the AirPods and the Sony and the Bose. So.
Yeah. Before we round out everything, what are some of the extra features you're going to get? First off, multi-point. This is something we really feel we need. Like if you have more than one device, like a phone and a laptop or 2 phones or whatever, you will want to be connected to both of them at the same time. Now, except Apple, all of them give you that. But Apple, if you're in their ecosystem, it lets you automatically switch. So if you go to your laptop, to your MacBook, it's going to say, hey, connect AirPods, or it'll already connect, whatever. The rest can do that with any 2 devices that have Bluetooth. So
that's it. No excuse.
No excuses.
And there's also a nice feature called Pull Connect that not all buds support. And if you do have more than 2 devices, and like Rohan said, they're connected to both of those devices, but you've also paired them to another 3rd device, and you want to pair to that, you don't have to put them back into pairing mode and stuff like that. You just go to that device, you select your earbuds, and then they pull over the connection. Now, all of the buds on the table can do that, except one, and that's the JBL.
Yeah, but the JBL has another trick up its sleeve. It has a smart case.
Yeah.
So you can just pull the case out and from the case choose which device you connect it to, which is pretty cool. None of the others can do that.
No. The AirPods, for example, come with some biosensors, right? They can track heart rate, temperature, all of that, even a hearing aid feature that they have.
Yeah. Let's go quickly through some of the other extra features. The Bose, we talked about the modes for ANC, and you get a device name readout. So it will tell you which phone or device you connected to, which none of the others do.
Underrated, yeah.
Yeah, that's very underrated. Sony, I can stay here all night and all the features.
Yeah, we don't have that much time.
Yeah, there's tons of features in the app, and we are not gonna bother going through all of them. But yeah, there's just like if you want to tweak, this is the one.
Yeah.
The Pixel Buds Pro 2 have some integration with Gemini. The JBL, this smart case is just like nothing else. Well, we have seen it on some other buds as well, but in the premium segment, there's nothing quite like this. So yeah, they all have something special.
And they can also be used as an audio transmitter.
Right. So if you have an older device with, an older amplifier or something, you can use your nice, shiny new buds with those.
Yeah. Or in-flight entertainment.
Exactly. First off, all the disclosures for all our videos you can find in the description down below, which YouTube is making harder to find by collapsing it more and more. So if you want to help us out and check the latest prices for these devices, check out dhrme.nl/links. You can also find our personal favorites and daily drivers on there too. And let us know if you agree or not.
Yeah. And before we go on to talking about which one we would buy out of this 5 on the table, a huge thanks to our Tested Tier supporters and our Falkman tier, Raz Panda, Paula, Rachel, Brian, and Croxland.
All right. Before we go to our picks, this one is a strange duck in the bite, as we say in the Netherlands, the AirPods Pro 3. Yeah. I think it's very lazy to say if you have an Apple phone, an iPhone, or if you're in the Apple ecosystem, buy the AirPods. But it's also true.
It is, yeah.
It's just,
you can hate all you want, right? Just because it's Apple, but
it's a safe bet, man.
It's a very good bet.
Yeah, comfortable, compact, great controls. They perform well. ANC.
It's a solid product. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it. I wish I could say this sucks. Go for something else, but I cannot.
No,
it does not suck.
So there you go. I mean, neither of us are completely in the Apple ecosystem, so that's the reason we can't pick it. But we do find ourselves in our day-to-day. We do pick it day-to-day when we're sitting at our MacBooks. Or
what are we doing? What are we doing?
Oh
Which
God,
one are you picking?
Don't confuse me. Okay, so let me put it this way. I really wanted to choose the JBL.
There you go, man.
No. But I'm not because of one thing. And that is that I cannot customize the controls. I have to choose between either noise cancelling, volume, or track control. I cannot have all 3 on my touch controls, and I need all 3.
But if you just enable the wear sensor, you have play pause already. You don't need to do it on the bud.
That's kind of smart.
I was thinking of actually using the JBL.
Right? Give me the JBL. Yeah, I'll go with JBL.
No, okay, fine.
So there's that. But no, if I really wanted all the controls on the buds and really good ANC and decent calls, I think I'm going to go with the Bose. Yeah, Quiet Comfort Ultra 2.
Okay, this is your pick.
But I had a good time with the Pixel Buds too.
Yeah.
Pro 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not somebody who's very picky about sound, these are also fantastic.
Yeah. Or ANC, if you're not picky about that.
Yeah, so.
And transparency. Yeah.
This is not picky audio. This is DHRME. But so that leaves us with this guy. And you know what? I think I'm going to pick this guy.
Yeah.
Because I've been testing this for a few days now. It's still pre-embargo, but not when you see the video. They perform great on all fronts. And I think the comfort is definitely improved with the XM compared to the XM5.
Yeah.
So I need to really test them for a few weeks to say if that's true. The Bose would be my pick otherwise, to be honest, because I'm not tweaking sound. I'm not listening to sound. I'm not an audiophile.
No, it's a convenience product, like we say. Right?
And I love the tuning of the Sony out of the box.
Yeah.
It's not super bassy. It's not super punchy, but it's very clean. I'm enjoying that. So I think my second pick would have been Bose and JBL is a very, very close second or third, except for the controls.
Yeah.
So there you go. Those are our picks. If you want to see the Sony WF-1000XM6 compared to its predecessor, the XM5, click here.
And if you want to see a more in-depth comparison of the Sony WF-1000XM6 versus Bose's flagship, the QC Ultra Gen 2, then click here.
Doei.
Doei.